Hello, welcome back to Astromantics. My name is Lacey. Hi. If you're watching me on YouTube, then you can see my background. My background is my dining room, but then also it's my workspace. I have my like yoga ball back there. Stuff. Something that I've never really thought about is a lot of our viewers have cancer placements, right? So, homie. And then a lot of you have Scorpio. So my background is very Scorpio-esque, right? Or for you Scorpios who like to investigate what does she look like in her room or whatever. And it's funny because to me, I don't think of this as anything in particular special, right? My background has like little window things that I made out of styrofoam. It's like it's a lamp that I made into like a kind of a candelabra. To me, it's like nothing. It's just every day. But to other people, they're like, oh my God, what? This is so magical. This is so fun. And I'm like, it's just Thursday to me. Anyway, so, fun stuff, fun stuff. Also, I'm using Google Meet, which is different. We've been using Zoom. So, just my life right now, y'all can hear about. Okay, so today we're going to talk about Britney Spears. She's been in the media recently. Things I know about Britney Spears. I know she was a part of the Mickey Mouse Club. I know it was like Christina Aguilera and Justin Timberlake at the time, right? I know she did the song Hit Me Baby One More Time. I am the worst at knowing any kind of actual pop culture. Just awful. I know that she had some issues with her father about him like being too controlling, right? Controlling her stuff. He was like her manager, right? And somehow the contract had it where he was in control of everything. And so I know they were in like litigation about that. I know she dated a guy that was kind of problematic and she went through some problematic things, right? She's had problematic relationships. I know that, but that's kind of all I know. Again, I'm not good at knowing stuff about other people. I'm too vain. Just kidding. All right. So I'm going to share my screen and you're going to be figuring this out with me, y'all. All right. I'm going to do this and go over to here. This is Britney Spears's chart here. This right here is who Britney Spears is, in case you don't know and you live under a rock. This is her, right? She's blonde. There's cutesy. She usually does like a tanned look, right? Muted lips. I don't usually see her in like bold lips or anything like that. But yeah, this is her with some like doppelgangers too, I think. But yeah, Britney Spears. Oh, she was one of the people who also dated that one dude from SNL who like everybody seems to love. Oh my God, what was his name? I don't remember names. I'm clicking on a little screen thing here. Pete Davidson. Something's up with Pete. He's got a lot of Scorpio in his chart. I know that for certain, which makes him sort of alluring in a way, right? Like people want to be controlled by Scorpios, And Scorpios are either like, hell yeah, or they're like, I'm terrified of that. So it's interesting. Anyway, Britney Spears. So this is Britney Spears' chart, and it's an A rating from memory, which is like, okay. She has a 2-degree Libra rising, so this could be a Virgo rising. It could be a Virgo rising. Like when I think of her, if she feels very precise about her look, then for sure more of a Virgo rising. Virgo risings tend to be more about, I have a particular look. I don't like my hairs to be out of place. I know Virgo men rising tend to have like a specific haircut, right? If they have hair. I have a friend who's a Virgo rising, and she also cares about how her hair is placed. sometimes, right? Like in a bun, she'll get like super thinky about how she looks. Anyway, like that, a precise thing. Whereas mine's kind of like, I rolled out of bed, I kind of did this, and then we're cool, right? Like I care a little bit less. But then, anyway, so Britney Spears's chart. So from memory, this does mean that it could, if she was born like, an hour ahead, then she could be a Virgo rising. She's got a Mars in Virgo, right? That Mars in the 12th house here. Mars 23 degrees of Virgo. I too have a Virgo Mars. This makes you sort of appear or come across as a little bit virginal and a little bit young in that way, right? Which when I think of Hit Me Baby One More Time, she was definitely doing like Catholic schoolgirl. Love a good Catholic schoolgirl look. Love it. So I totally get that, right? So a virginal sexual, right, is a Mars Scorpio, or sorry, not a Mars Scorpio, a Mars in Virgo. And it's in the 12th house, which makes it, if it's in the 12th house anyway, and not on her ascendant. Mars in Virgo on the ascendant would definitely create a more of an Aries layer. So a more bold, ballsy type of person, and I go first, shoot and think about it later. I don't know, you guys, she could be a Virgo rising. This is the problem with doing celebrities charts. I need exactness. My Jupiter Virgo requires exactness. Anyway. All right. So it looks like she has a Libra ascendant. Libra ascendant then cares about beauty culture, right? Makeup, things like that. There's more of a care about balance, a little less about truth, but more about balance. Does have a Saturn conjunct Pluto. So she has a Saturn in Libra, 19 degrees, conjunct. And I'm going to say conjunct because I use whole signs, and it's in the same sign. So she has a 19-degree Saturn, and she has a 25-degree Pluto. Now, those are outer planets, and therefore very heavy and more of a generation define, right? So people who are close to Britney Spears' age, if you're born in 1981, then you will have a conjunction like this too. Did you have a controlling father, Pluto conjunct Saturn? Or are you perhaps a controlling person, like you kind of take up all the air in the room? Are you? I don't even know like if she's that way really. But when I see Saturn in Libra, this is an exalted Saturn. Saturn loves to be in Libra. Saturn's whole job is to mature. Saturn's whole job is to make boundaries, to make structures. Saturn in Libra can make boundaries and structures that appeal to most people. That's what Saturn in Libra is capable of doing, right? Pluto extremifies things. We know this. It also means that wherever Pluto is in the native's chart, that they will have a death and rebirth in this area in some way, right? Like burn it all down to the ground and then rise like a phoenix. That's part of what Pluto does. And it extremifies whatever it touches. Pluto in Libra extremifies relationships, right? Everybody who is born within like 15 years. Is it 15 years? Pluto in Libra. It's a generation defined, right? So people who were born in like late 1975, I think, have a Pluto in Libra, right? 75 to like 80, 384. See, you see what I mean? 70s to mid 80s. There's a generation of us who have Pluto in Libra, and that is extreme relationships. And depending upon where it falls in the houses, extreme relationships to something. For example, my Pluto is the opposite of hers. I have an Aries rising. So my Pluto is in Libra of the 7th house. This means that I will have extreme relationships to other people, and that, or I will try to extremely control other people, but in a very Libra Venusian way, right? I have a Venus who's in a great place, so she doesn't like to take advantage, right? She kind of knows when she is and tries not to, but it also means that she's really good at making you want to do what she wants you to do because she's charming. That's kind of how my Pluto works there. I do have an extreme relationship to, for example, I had an extreme relationship to virginity and to religion when I was younger. So I'm going to be a staunch virgin till I get married, right? There's going to be an extreme no, you don't. I have a lot of Virgo sixth house, a Virgo Mars, Virgo Jupiter. My beliefs are virginal. Saturn goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. You cannot do it until you have so many things in consideration, right? Like marriage commitment, Saturn. Saturn's all about commitment, right? And so Saturn in Libra, she's going to try, so her Saturn 19 degrees Libra with her Pluto 25 degrees Libra. Saturn can also represent father, right? So does Jupiter and so does the sun. They all have something to say about father. So the things about father are Saturn in Libra, that is could be like a father who manages or a father who is, I've known people with Saturn in Libra and they don't have the best relationships with their fathers. So you would think that it would be, I suppose, but maybe a Saturn in Libra, if it was in like one of these houses, the relationship might be closer or better. Jupiter in Scorpio, she has. Britney Spears has a Jupiter 1 degree of Scorpio. This Scorpio rules the genitals, second house here. If it would be her second or her third house if she's like, right, if it's down a little bit farther. If her Virgo, she's a Virgo rising. So Jupiter in Scorpio, again, we have a little bit of controlling of wealth, right? Scorpio likes to control, be in control of its wealth, Jupiter, right? Its children, Jupiter, right? Jupiter signifies wealth. Ancient astrology, wealth was not only money or finances or your enterprises. Jupiter also had to do with your religious beliefs, right? Because it has to do with beliefs, what buoys you, what makes you feel optimistic, which is a form of wealth, right? And then children, a form of wealth. When you are old, who is going to take care of you? If you have a lot of children, you are blessed with wealth, right? So to have those three things in Scorpio, that could be definitely a controlling wealth father. A father controls the wealth. They themselves want to control their own wealth, would want to control how their children are viewed, would want to control how their wealth comes in, would want to control, right, all those things. So she would definitely want control of her children and her situations, her solutions, her beliefs, her religion, her body, her sex. She wants to be in control, right? So there is that, right? Scorpio likes to control. That's what it likes to do. It wants to be in control because it wants to feel safe, right? Scorpio hides until it feels safe. And then when it feels safe, it's like out there. All right. So she has a packed third house, possibly here. It's either a packed third or fourth. So packed third. The third house rules. It's said to be the house of goddess worship, right? It's a very goddessy house. It is a Mercury ruled house. It's the house of Gemini. She has Mercury here. So Mercury is in a house that it would love to be in, right? Third house. That's true. Which kind of boosts Mercury's ability to communicate what is desired or wants to be seen. We have let's see, she has a 10 degrees sun in Sagittarius, a black moon Lilith 6 degrees retrograde. So she's going to be counterculture when it comes to being a mistress, counterculture when it comes to being an outcast or feeling like an outcast in a way. She has a 5 degree Mercury in Sagittarius, right? And then a lot of spirit. So she gets unction, right? But something about what makes her feel motivated about pursuing a career, a lot of spirit. 5 degrees. She will find a career in some way, online, speaking, right? Here. We have a Juno, that's betrayal, right? She will naturally experience some form of betrayal in her career as it pertains to communication online. As it pertains to truth, Sagittarius is the sign of truth. Sagittarius is the sign of the teacher and the student. Again, I see Catholic schoolgirl vibes here, right? In a school, being sexy or whatever, right? When I think of Hit Me Baby One More Time. Vesta, that is fanatical devotion. So she has a fan base online for sure, right? Like I know she's got a big one. And then Uranus, 0 degree of Sagittarius. Remember, Uranus likes to be bold, rebellious. It doesn't like labels. It goes back and forth on things. It wants to be independent. It doesn't. I want to be, I don't. So she has, so Vesta here at 1 degree in Sagittarius with Juno, right? That's a fanatical devotion to betrayal, because Juno deals in like she will be married. Juno is also like marriage partner. What we're married to, she has a devotion to, carries a flame for, a hearth for, with Juno, who is about betrayal and having to be partnered or married to somebody who she feels like, I'm devoted to you, but you aren't devoted to me. So think of Hera and Zeus, right? Juno and Jupiter, right? That's this relationship. So, and then Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So she's kind of in the house of her husband, if you will, Juno in so she has some clout here, right? Hera still has clout over Zeus, right? They are married. She is therefore the queen of heaven. So she does have some strong say over what goes on in her beliefs. And her Jupiter is in Scorpio, right? So her sort of internal wealth husband is in her second house, giving her wealth. So she does have wealth in sexy ways, right? Scorpio rules the genitals. I don't know. Just my musings. Like when I see certain things, I kind of have just when I'm looking at charts, I'm just giving you sort of the definitions or the signifiers of the things that I know. And other people, usually at this point, if I'm interviewing somebody or I'm doing somebody else's chart, they'll be like, oh yeah, I blah, blah, blah. And they will use the definitions that I'm saying to say, oh yes, right, I've experienced that through this filter, right, through their filter. But yeah, fanatical devotion in Juno. Juno, she's the protector of maidens, right? She's the protector of weddings, marriages, in that way. I don't know why I'm stuck on this Juno thing. I guess because it's so close to her Mercury and her lot of spirit. Like she will talk about her career, how she's betrayed by fans, maybe. And then the fans are, I'm fan, I'm not, I'm fan, I'm not, I'm online, I'm not, or we'll have fanatical fans. Yeah, it's just interesting, I suppose, but doesn't like labels, right? And it's all in the first decan, right? Her 10 degrees Sagittarius technically goes to the next decan, right? Because it's 2 minutes over. But that's a pretty stacked first decan of Sagittarius, the first decan of Sagittarius, right? Here. So Black Moon Lilith, Mercury, a lot of spirit, Juno, Vesta. Uranus. They're in that first decan, and the first decan is said to be in traditional astrology ruled by Jupiter, right? Because it goes Jupiter first, and then the last decan is ruled by the last sun sign. So her 10th degree son of Sag is ruled by then Mars, who is over here repressed. Interesting. And the sun, we know, signifies also father. So this is kind of like, was her father, I don't know what he did as a profession. In the third house has to do with short distance travel, has to do with teaching, right? Because it's Sagittarius. Is her father somebody who travels and does some kind of teaching, or did some kind of teaching, or did some kind of online teaching, right? Because Mercury also rules sort of this online space. Sagittarius is beliefs, right? Proselytizing beliefs, a preacher, right? Because Sagittarius can be that as well. Because it deals with law and religion, right? Sagittarius, that's another vibe that it does. Law and religion. So could also be, I don't know, a lawyer or somebody who's involved in a preacher or somebody who does law stuff. That's my best. That's my best, you guys. She has a sun in Sagittarius. This means that she likes to travel. She will like to travel short distances. Third house, she's going to be traveling a lot, right? And likes it, is meant to, wants to. And then also abroad, because Sagittarius also gives a broad cross-cultural travel, right? She cares a lot about truth, but then she has a Neptune in Sagittarius here, which kind of gives a what is truth, or transcendence of truth. It gives a magnetism, right? So she will definitely have like a magnetic kind of personality. People will feel very drawn to her. So I think that's very interesting. What? She has an Aquarius moon. I'll talk about this Venus in Cap here in a second. She definitely likes supplies, pens. She definitely likes office supplies. Okay, so she definitely has like a cleaner look, right? So her Venus in Capricorn then would rule this Saturn and this Pluto. Capricorn is daddy vibes too, right? Is teachings of the father. There is another connection there. Interesting. So okay, moon in Aquarius. That's logic's feelings. What is logical about my feelings, right? It goes through sort of the filter of, well, it would go through the filter of Saturn, who is over here in Libra, right? So lots of logic there going on for her. Is a scientist in some way? Definitely she will be into learning the sciences. Does she learn sciences? If she doesn't, she should. I think that might make her feel really good, like being some kind of teacher or professor or something like that. That could feel like really good. But yeah, the moon in Aquarius, they tend to be into sciences. So I know a lot of geologists, people who are into geology. I know a lot of people who are into chemistry who have a moon in Aquarius, right? There's like this very experimental vibe, right, to an Aquarius moon. Also, it makes her feel good to have perspective, right? In some way that she will definitely love to have perspective when it comes to relationships. She might find herself being logical about them, because Venus here is also ruled by Saturn. There's another logical thing, but I know that she's gotten into some, maybe I don't know, she's gotten into some strong difficulties in relationships. What is this moon aspecting? So I'm going to click on the moon here, and in my software, it gives me squares. Okay. So that moon is in a trine to Saturn, right? That means there's an easy flow with her inner world and her Saturn. So how she likes to structure and maneuver in relationships, right? But she's got a moon and it's in a biquintile to Uranus. So that does give a bit of rebel rock and roll. It does give an association with She probably sees the best in rebels or has an automatic association with that. Like can put rebel and logic together, rebel and truth logic together. A sextile to vertex, she's going to meet other people. Uh, Moon is in square to Eros here. So she has Moon 12 degrees Aquarius, right, in a square to her 14-degree Taurus Eros. This means that she is turned on by, so Taurus is sensual, it's the five senses, right? But then as in square to the moon, she might stop herself from experiencing true eroticism in a way, right? She might stop that flow because squares are something that we have to deal with. They're something that we realize that we know about, right? Something we have to do something about. And so she might, and it's also kind of where we feel blocked though too. So square Eros, I wonder if she has a blocked feeling about accepting the senses or maybe even accepting wealth in a way or riches, because Moon in Aquarius also struggles with I have things but other people don't have things. Like they struggle in those humanitarian effort ways, right? Like it's not fair that I should have so many things and other people shouldn't, right? Like that could be problematic for her. But yeah, definitely that Jupiter though, and wants to control the wealth. So, ooh, is that Jupiter in opposition? No, it's not. Not exactly. She's got wounds here next to that Eros, so she definitely has wounds in feeling secure in issues of security. Eighth house. She has wounds when it comes to deep transformative things, right? She has issues around security, right? She has issues around feeling erotic. She will experience in her lifetime, she has childhood wounds, right? Childhood wounds in merging with tradition. She has childhood wounds around that because Taurus is also very traditional, very fixed. If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's the vibe there. She has a MC possibly in Cancer. So the MC is the career line, but it could be either in her ninth house, it could be in Gemini because the angles change. And when it's like 2 degrees so close like this, you don't know what house it's in. So I'm like reluctant to say the houses that it's in. She does, however, so when you're doing chart rectification and you're trying to figure out what a person's rising sign is, so that you can know the houses, she does have a lot of fortune in Leo in the 11th house. So that means that we all see her on a stage, right? Leo is the stage, 11th house is community, kind of how the world sees us. So she is kind of on a stage being a humanitarian in some way. I wonder if this is what people like about her, right? I wonder if she has that humanitarian. I know her inner world is humanitarian, something about that. And when people have that, when they have that perspective and they're trying to do what's good for other humans, then we will see that they're motivated by that. So she has a lot of fortune. So how she makes her money is like on a stage, right? We'll find that in the 11th house, we're all seeing it, right? So that could be true, you know. Anyway, those are just like thoughts. We do see her on a stage. The sun rules the 11th house. So, and the first decan is Jupiter. Second decan is Mars. Last decan, the last decan of, so there's 3 decans that rule. Just give you a little lesson right now. So for you astrology nerds, let me look up, let's look up decans on the wheel. So I think I can pull up an image and then y'all can see it, and then I can just describe it here. Which one? I mean, I love rainbow ones. Sounds complicated. This is kind of what I'm talking about here. All right. So if you are watching this, the decans are the first 1 through 10 degrees, right? There are 30 degrees, right, in every sign, right? Aquarius, right, from 0 degree to 29.59 degrees, right? That is all of Aquarius. So the degrees in between those, right, 1 to 29, different planets rule the different decans. So decans are the first 3, right? So we're going to use hers as an example. Can I move my picture around? Good, I can. All right. So Sagittarius is the decan that we're talking about for Britney Spears, right? Sagittarius, interesting. So this is not traditional. So these aren't the traditional decan, or these are, I think these decans might be. Yeah, I think these are not. I think this decan might be another decan system. So astrology is complicated, you guys. That's how this action works. Maybe I should put in a traditional. Okay, let's put in traditional decans in astrology. No. Yeah. Modern decans in astrology. Boom. Let's try this. And then this will give me the easiest one to show you. Gosh. Mercury, Moon, Saturn. No. It's definitely the Bound Lords. Come on. Don't make me look like a fool, you guys, as I'm doing this. You know what? This is what I do. Let's go to, I'm trying to find the one that I am thinking about. Not Chaldean decans, although I do use those. All right. How about this? We'll just go back to here and I'll just describe it to you. So the triplicity lords. Oh, I'm trying to move my thing. Wow. I'm only having like a million issues right now. All right. So decans 0 through 9, right, is the sign that rules it. Now Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. So Jupiter rules then the first 0 through 9 decans. The next set of decans, 10 through 19, the next fire sign in order rules it. So the next fire sign after Jupiter is Aries. So Mars is the ruler of Aries. It rules the decans 10 through 19. Now, the last decan is 20 to 29, right, to the end of the sign. And the next fire sign is Leo. So the last decan here, 10 through 39, is 10 through 29, sorry, is ruled then by Leo. So what you do in astrology is you say, oh, Jupiter rules over Britney Spears's Uranus, Vesta, Juno, Lot of Spirit, and Mercury. Now, Jupiter rules the whole sign of Sagittarius, but is most potent in the first decan, right? There's bound lords, there's even more than that. It gets even more minute than that. But her Jupiter is in Scorpio. So father probably, in this case, has a strong control over how rebellious she can be, over fanatical, over her hearth, what makes her burn, right? Over her betrayal, over her spirit, her career, and over what she can and can't say, Mercury, right? Oh, and Black Moon Lilith, 6 degrees. So that is feeling like an outcast, right? And it's in her second house, likely, of finances, right? Of her values. So this would be in control of a big part of her chart, we see. Now, her sun of 10 degrees is ruled by Mars. Her Mars is over here in Virginal Virgo, and it's in the 12th house, right? Which is repressed. It represents what we're really good at and what other people can see, but that we ourselves have a hard time seeing. She might have a hard time really seeing the consequences of her actions in a way, right? Like, won't be able to tell it. Like, other people will see it, but she herself, it won't dawn on her in a way, right? So her sun is ruled by Mars, who is repressed in the 12th house. It's also the house of the incarcerated, the institutionalized. It's the house of enemies, right? So in a way, she's kind of her own enemy, her own worst enemy is kind of what that vibe could give. And then Neptune here, 24 degrees, that is in the last decan. So it is ruled by Leo, right? Who's ruled by her sun. So there's still then a hearkening unto that Mars. But Neptune wants to transcend, be like everybody else. It goes higher than beliefs even. Jupiter controls beliefs, what we can see. Neptune is behind the unseen planets, right? We didn't know Neptune even was a thing until like what, right? Not in ancient astrology. Neptune's a modern astrology thing because we didn't know it was there. So it is what we can't see. It's like faith, right? It's the things that we can't see, but that we know is there, right? Like, it's like how some people know there's a higher being. I feel it. I know it. There's something more than this, but I don't know how to explain it. I kind of know it when I feel it, right? Kind of odd. But it gives her a magnetism that we see, right? Neptune is here with the sun and the 11th house is ruled by the sun. So we see her magnetism, right? But we also see her being repressed, right? And all this here. We also see her, she has to be a humanitarian in some way. You don't have an Aquarius moon without being that, at least internally, right? Her heart would be for humans. This could be why humans love her so much too, right? Is because of that Aquarius moon. And see her trying to logic it out, see her trying to be. Aquarius moons are also rebels, right? It gives us joy to be seen as weird, to be seen as unconventional, to be seen as fuck your ass, right? That's an Aquarius vibe. So that's a thing there too. Now, let's look at the transits really quick. We've kind of described her a little bit. Oh, we can kind of see where it's headed. Let's look at, do I want to look at her progress? Do I want to look at her? Let's just look at the transits. What's affecting her currently? These are the transits. So she's on the inside wheel, right? And so on the outside is what's affecting her now. Now, the planets that I'm going to look at are the planets that are the outer planets, right? That are going to be in the sign the longest. That's what we're going to see. All right. So I'm gonna look to, oh, who's her most benefic? So she has a night chart. So her most benefic is actually Venus, who's in Capricorn. Venus moves pretty quickly. Oh my gosh, she has a Venus on Mars today. Wonder if she's feeling horny. She definitely might be pursuing some kind of sexy endeavors today in private with an institutionalized person. Just kidding. Wow. And it's in trine to her Venus here, right? Venus in Virgo isn't particularly strong though. So, okay. But Venus is really fast, right? She's faster. She's an inner planet, even though it's her sect light. It's moving very quickly. All right. So right now she's got a lot of Scorpio. So the sun is at 10 degrees, Mars is at 14, Mercury at 18 degrees Scorpio, which means there's hidden stuff. She will have right now things going on that are actually quite hidden from the rest of us, right? That has to do with maybe taking action and communication, or we're seeing the hidden things. So Scorpio likes to hide. The sun exposes whatever is going on, right? The sun sheds light. Mars on what people are doing, Mercury online, right? So maybe she is getting a little more exposure than normal around her resources, what she values, that we have that Jupiter there. So father stuff again, right? Is she in like litigation right now around something? The opposite is eighth house. And the seventh and eighth house tends to be more like litigation. It tends to be more like going to sever contracts or to merge contracts, right? And she has Jupiter here. So Jupiter is in Taurus transiting her eighth house. So that could be like a wealth, getting wealth from other people's resources, right? In her case, though, I know her father, which is also sort of a Jupiter husband significator. Jupiter is also about husband, right? Wifey things. But I think in her case, it's more of like a father thing, right? Anyway, Jupiter there, Jupiter's a benefic, so Jupiter tends to give wealth, grant access, grant permission. Jupiter is retrograde right now, so maybe when Jupiter goes direct, we might see some more movement when it comes to her being in litigation or in courts with a father or a husband in that kind of committed partnership. I know that she's kind of like that, right? Let's see. So there is that. So Jupiter is going through her eighth house. This definitely gives her some goodness right now. See, Venus, when Venus is in Scorpio, I wonder if it won't be like super great. Venus and Sag, when she has Venus, when Venus is in Capricorn, transiting her Venus, I wonder if she'll have an easier time at home with home things, with roots, legacy things, right? Not legacy, roots, home, foundations. I wonder if she'll have more benefits with that. Saturn is restricting. It shores up and it's going through her sixth house of day to day. So she'll definitely be experiencing some kind of restrictions day to day. She'll definitely be experiencing some delays. There'll be some delays in things that she would like to do every day, right? If she has things that are planned that she wants to do, we might see her, especially in music, right? So Pisces rules music. So I wonder if we'll be experiencing delays when it comes to writing music, right? Seeing music come from her specifically. I wonder if we'll see that with a lot of musicians, right? A lack of new music coming out, or people might be doing old music and giving it a new flair, right? Music that's because Saturn is old age, things that have come before, right? And she has a Venus in a Saturn ruled sign, so that is like likes old vintage things. I wonder if we'll see her move into less newy boppy, but if the aesthetic might be as she gets older, I wonder if it might be more Marilyn Monroe-ish, or I think of like old vaudeville, right? That's what I think of, or like even older than that, like Victorian, right? I wonder if we'll be seeing a lot of musicians kind of using older music to do new things. Saturn goes direct here. I think this Saturday. Saturn's going to be going direct. Things will start building again instead of going over what has been done. Right now it's retrograding over what she has done. So maybe she's been really delayed. And then Saturn will start up again with delays. Well, Saturn becomes stronger in delays. Anyway, I get lost when I'm trying to like surmise these things. So those are the things that I am seeing. that will be going on for her. So areas to pay attention to her are this Pluto here. When Pluto ingresses into Aquarius, which it will be doing, we will be seeing big changes when it comes to her humanitarian efforts. We will see her becoming more involved in rebellious acts that promote humanity, or maybe even like, sort of the darker versions of humanity, right? Expressing the dark humanity, because that's the other thing Pluto tends to do, right? It gives a dark vibe, a phoenix vibe. We will be seeing her probably have some more like interesting breakdowns, burning it all down and then rising up from the ashes, kind of a thing. Saturn in that sixth house, her music is going to change. It's definitely going to change more towards older versions, right? Either redoing old things that she's done, revisiting those things, or making new music that has an old vibe. Does that make sense? We'll see her coming out with stuff like that. And then, so Pluto and Neptune. Neptune is also here. So Neptune, another slow moving, and that's also with Saturn there. They do go conjunct in the future. I know that. So her day-to-day life, her health, has Neptune in it. That Neptune in Pisces tends to, it wants to escape. That's what it wants to do. She's been wanting to escape every day, right? She's been wanting to escape for a while now, because Neptune really wants to escape, and it wants to escape with music. It wants to escape with drugs and alcohol, with substances, with spirituality. Neptune wants to transcend. It wants to be a part. When you have, things that are under the influence, it makes your judgment, your Saturn, sort of recede more, and it makes your non-judgment, we're all the same. It makes you trust maybe a little bit more when you're under the influence of things, because, or maybe that's just my Venus in Pisces, she trusts more. I wonder if she'll be experimenting with transcendental music in the future, right? Or what makes us all one spiritually, right? What are some old things that have always been true, that humans have had in common since the beginning of time? Is she going to be doing day-to-day stuff about that? I don't know. That's my thought, though. That's what comes to my mind when I think of that Saturn transiting. But yeah, restrictions. She'll be have restrictions in her music, right? Of what she can and can't do, and that's going to be there for a hot minute, Britney. That's not going away anytime soon. All right, so that is Britney Spears. Her chart didn't sing to me like most other charts do. So sad. But yeah, she is going to have she's got a lot going on in the sector of self, right? So in this life, where's her South Node? South Node. Yeah, in this life, she's letting go of roots, family, home, foundations, and the hierarchies and the responsibilities of that. And she is headed towards how she's headed towards her North Node of Cancer is more like is supposed to head towards mothering, towards nurturing, towards business, right? Cancer tends to be really good at business because the water, the flow of the water, they tend to be concerned with business. That Capricorn Cancer sort of access, that's kind of what happens there. So yeah, she's supposed to head towards being a mom, being nurturing, being a person who cares deeply for her tribe, a person who's supposed to be sort of the source of water. That's the other thing. Cancer likes to be the source of water to give out to the community. So she's definitely supposed to going to be a source of water, a source of nurturing in her future somehow, a source of truth, right? A source for humanitarian vibes, right? She will be a source for that eventually. I think she's going to grow to be more of a teacher in the future. That's what I think. Talking maybe about her pitfalls and her mistakes and how to nurture and protect in the future. I wonder. I think that's what she's going to be going towards. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, I think. Ring call back here. Hello. Okay. Thanks for joining me on Astromantics. As always, I hope that my rambling has taught you something, right? Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you later. Bye. If I can learn how to stop my recording, like right now. There it is. Okay.